we are. Welcome, 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 welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you at. I'm currently in Hawaii right now. Just want to say thank you for everybody for joining. All four of you so far. Mahalos. I'm excited to be here. Actually, I'd like to give a shout out to my manager. Soli, thank you so much. Kevin, I appreciate you, bro. This is cool. This is a cool outlet that you have for everybody, even for myself. And I'm really excited to get going, answering questions, showing some music, sharing some input, certain things I've learned over the years. Of course, I feel like an hour is not enough to really kind of get everything popping, but I'll give you guys as much as I can, as much as possible. So, and if you have any questions, please, no, store it in. I'll be ready to answer that. Background on what's been going on in my life lately. I've been producing a lot, so it's been helping me a lot to see things from a different way, different perspective, instead of being just a drummer and a musical director on stage. And one of the key thing on being a MD for live music and being a producer that helped out, that go hands on hands. And for me is, I tell a lot of my friends this: as a drummer, as a musical director, I'm the last guy that sees everything happens. Literally, I'm the last guy, and everything else is right in front of me, from the crowd to the band, production, or a little bit of production left and right. So I've learned a lot from watching and paying attention to other people, to other musicians, to reactions of the crowd, and came to learn a lot from watching instead of actually doing. That became second. So one, I'll get to it how it applies for me working on the studio. Um, I used to do this thing a lot when I play live. I would do a crash. Instead of doing a crash in the one, I'll do an upbeat. And the more I started doing that, the more I started seeing reactions from the crowd, because most of the people that's coming to the shows almost pretty much memorize exactly what part is what. Just like in production, when you're producing stuff, it feels like certain songs has to go a certain place just because that's the way it goes, or that's how it's feeling. So I learned to counterattack that, to kind of almost like make the heart skip. And I feel like it's very important as a producer and as a live musician to take people on this ride, but kind of control them in a nice way. So that's a key thing to do. Switch up your feels here and there. Even in the studio recording, switch up certain things that you usually do, switch it up and don't do it there, because you have a crowd of people and fans that actually study everything you do and watch you, especially if you're out there playing a lot, especially if you're out there producing a lot of music. So you gotta really, really, really be careful with that. So that helped me a lot, experiment a lot in the studio, experiment a lot creating live sets. And it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because without knowing, you're just gonna be okay with how everybody feels. But once you do something people on it don't expect, changes the whole feeling. I remember going after the show, people coming up to me and be like, "Man, I knew you was gonna do that, dear Sylvia, Phil. But when it came to it, you did it, but you flipped it at the end, and that really made my whole night." And I'd be like, "Wow, that was like me just feeling like I want to switch it up a little bit without realizing what it does for other people. So it definitely helps a lot when you switch it up on people and learn to not always stick with your regular fields and regular plugins that you do. Try something different, because like I said, people are watching you and they're studying how you do things. So you got to be able to adapt and learn things about that. Why inspire you each instrument play? Oh man, what inspires me using each instrument that I play is, for example, if I see somebody killing a ukulele really, really, really well, smashing it, that inspires me. Just to know that this human being can play that and make that happen with that instrument really, really changes me a lot. And that inspires me itself to go back home. So I played about, I would say, I stopped counting. My last time was about to 12 to 14 instrument. I can tell you the basic note to what and where. Can I be like, am I, did I master each instrument? No. But what inspires me to get it is I wanted to learn. I wanted to feel like I actually can do it. I believe if another human being can do it, that means you can do it. I know some people say, no, I can't do it. Maybe you won't do it like them, but you possibly be able to play A, B, C, D on a piano, ukulele, guitar if you wanted to. So to me, it starts as that. So every instrument I play, I got inspired by watching other people play. I got inspired by watching my friends play, you know, especially when you got to see, when I got to see it live to live. Because in videos or even on TV, it's like they could that guy could be faking it right now. Somebody else could be playing the side, but I get to see it live. That's why I love going to live shows, which I miss a lot. Live shows taught me a lot. Live DVDs taught me a lot. To be able to watch that, and it really helped me a lot. You know. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, I'm inspired by anybody that's great at what they do. That inspires me to be great. Now, going back to if you have any questions, just pop it out. I'll answer as I go. You know. So going back to be able to control people to music and be responsible for that, and knowing that people are listening to your music and studying the way you work. As a drummer, as a producer, as a music director, it's all connected. You gotta be able to know when enough is enough, when you did the exact same feel all the time, because most people will expect the same result as they got for the other ones. Now you gotta know when to turn it off and on, off and on. And one thing I learned a lot is surprising people to music helps a lot because we programming people. The more people come to our show, and the more people come to our show and watch us play, they memorize everything that I do. Literally, they memorize the feels, they memorize exactly where I'm gonna take a break and drink water. So I came to the point to surprising a lot of people with things that they didn't see coming. What is one of your fondest memory from a live show? Either you play a fondest memory, like for me on a live show, what I was playing was I remember we was with recently actually with Bugs because we recently started using backing tracks because our the keyboard player recently just left the band to become a pastor, Chris Reese. So it became to the point that everything about 10% or 50% of the music you hear live was pre-recorded on the tracks. And one day, something went wrong with the tracks, even the backup. So it came to the point we had to go back relying on what helped us get to where we was playing full on live, no backup. And it was panic on stage for a minute. And that's one thing as a musical director, you gotta remember you control all everybody looks at for you for an answer. So every time something goes wrong, everybody looked at me and I could see everybody was panicking. And I remember my talkback mic screaming, "Gimme, the, the tracks are not working. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" He goes, he looks at me, goes, "I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you." I said, "All right, guys, we're gonna run it live, just like that. Pull the track, Book pulls, JBoog pulls the track, started from the top, and I clicked it. And just from using tracks every day for that whole tour and that one time that we didn't use the track felt really really good, felt like we was in control of the situation, felt like there's nothing that could have been wrong because even if you're using tracks you have backups, some backups, anything could definitely go wrong. The power could go off, a lot of things, somebody can just step on one thing over there excuse me, and unplug everything and everything just goes to shit pretty much. So it definitely helps to be able to cover your ground when you're using backing tracks. And my fun memory out of that was to be able to everybody man up and put on the big boy shoes and pants and be like, all right, guys, we're gonna go back to where got us where we are right now. So that's one of my funnest memory. And another one was definitely the switch up on music because a lot of bands nowadays I realize they're so stuck on the list, on the lineup of what they have, and they're afraid to go against that. And for me, I love going against the grid because sometimes when we're on stage, you don't know the energy might be going somewhere totally different, and we have to shift and carry to that energy and cater to it. You know, yes, we have a lineup of songs to do, For me, I'm always like, especially Fiji. Fiji, and the artist named Fiji from Hawaii, he's really good at that. He send us a whole set list. Be like, all right, boys, the set list. All of us know that if we play with Fiji, that set list might go out the window by the third or fifth song. We already know it's a set list. It's a guideline, but it doesn't mean necessarily that we have to follow it. It's pretty much with him. It's if we do get lost, we always can resort and come back to this, which is some people have hard time doing that, which I love. I love being able to figure things out in the heat of the moment on stage, you know? So definitely, yeah, when songs get switched out, I love it. That's one of my favorite things to do. See, I got questions coming here. Let's see. Comes up. Spiritual blessing, enchanted mahal. You decided to get involved in an artist collaboration. Yeah, of course. Everything is about vibes. You gotta go to feelings, you know. Like music is full of emotion. People forget that, you know. As you create, you're creating to feed people's feelings and emotion out there. So you gotta be careful what you do. You gotta be careful how you take it in and receive that and give it back to them. You know, most people don't really care. Most people, as a musical director, as even producers in studio, they don't care. They will just do what they feel like is right, even though sometimes doing the right thing, you can do it at the wrong time. You know, you gotta be careful. You gotta feed off of everybody. Um, Another thing I wanted to bring up when it comes on to cool things that happen. Um, Playing in Guam with JBoog, one of the most, I think it was the first time playing in Guam with JBoog. I've been in Guam a few times before that, and it comes to a point you make. This is a kind of embarrassing one, but this is a come to a point you make a decision on stage. How much do you really love this music? How much are you willing to really carry on with the set no matter what happens? You know, we playing. I remember it was like probably like 7 or 10,000 people were playing, and we literally at the last song. And if you've been to Guam, it's humid. It's extremely beyond humid. It's ridiculous. First time I went there, I almost panicked. That's how humid it was. So we playing. I'm drinking a bunch of water. If you know me, I sweat a lot. I'm playing, and literally we play all the way up to the end of the set time that we have. So we have probably like three more songs. And then the promoter was like, "Oh, you guys gotta cut it." I was like, "What?" So I look at my tour manager, Anna was like, "Yeah, we gotta cut it." But let's just see. Let's do this last song and see what happens. We do the last song. We didn't even get to let's do it again yet. Next thing you know, the promoter comes to the crowd is chanting. The promoter comes like goes, "You know what? Keep it going." Now don't mind me. During this whole set, I drank probably about 6 or 7 bottle of water, just straight, just tanking it, bam, bam. And I'm sitting down, 10,000 people, and it comes to the point I have to pee. And I look at my tour manager because I got comfortable when he told me, "Guess what, Les? This is the last song and we're done." So I was like, "All right, I'm gonna get to pee after this." And then he comes back to me, he goes, "I know you have to pee, but they asking for 2 more songs, and this is the first time in Guam, and it's up to you. Whatever you choose to do, we're gonna run with it." And I never forget this. It was pretty heavy. I sacrificed myself and sat there, and I told him, "Get the van ready." And I started playing Let's Do It Again. I did the feel the whole time. He couldn't believe it because he knew I was putting myself at risk. I either pissing on myself while I'm playing Let's Do It Again, or I had to get off stage and pee, and we might not have a chance to do this song because we only had like a few minutes and we didn't get to do Let's Do It Again. So definitely that was the heaviest time I ever had in my life on stage, where I literally during the drum fill or Let's Do It Again, 30 seconds deep to the song, I was like, I have to pee. There's no other way. And it was a part where it was dubwise, and it was just the crowd was feeling it. I was about to kill the moment. So I literally, I can't believe I'm saying this. I pissed on myself. I chose to sacrifice myself for the greater cause. And about 10,000 people there, nobody knew that. Nobody knew that they almost didn't get that song, Let's Do It Again, that day, if it wasn't because of my decision. It's a crazy, stupid decision, but I feel like it needed to be made. So I decided to PR myself. Right when we finished, we didn't even do the outro. I was like, the van pulled out. I was the first one that left. And everybody was wondering, why did Leslie go? Like, I left. It was definitely drinking a lot of water because at the time I wasn't drinking as much before as I drink now. As you can say, I was young too, so it was definitely was a lot of water. For adding to your question, your family came from Congo. Feeling to share comments, sustainability, that people back Yes, I'm originally from Republic of Congo. Used to actually used to be called Zaire. So I grew up in a very musical family. My parents, my mom sang, my dad sings. My mom and dad actually met to a band. They used to play in the same band together. So literally, music has been part of my life for a very long time. And now also just music became to a point patterns like drum pattern. Growing up in Africa, especially in Congo, walking for like it depends. Usually it's after school. During weekday, after 2 p.m., if you're walking, you walk 10, I say 5 miles to a certain direction, you start hear drums automatically. It's impossible to go out walking in Africa, especially where I'm from, without hearing people playing drums out in public. You know, so it definitely helped a lot. I got kind of programmed without knowing it. By every time I walk by a place to hear drums, I go gravitate towards it. I usually go and watch them play. And most of the time, there was nobody singing. It was just people around the circle banging on drums. And it usually is one single drum, somebody's banging on top, but somebody either has a rock or stick and hitting on the side. And they all had different patterns they was using. And depending on what tribe you're from, guys would jump on and just jump on and collab with whoever was already on top and add in different flavor and different patterns, which was tripping me out as a kid. I like, 7, 8 years old, walking from school to home and seeing this every day. Without knowing, I was memorizing the patterns out here. Never touched the drums at that time. At the time, I was a pure trumpet player, playing trumpet and playing a little bit of bass, like just notes. So, being in Africa and my parents' background of being musicians, I got really introduced to a lot of different direction of music. Like, for example, my mom and my dad, mostly my dad, would listen to classical music almost all the time. Will whistle classical music to the point I didn't even know. I know so many classical music songs in my head that I don't even know who created what because my dad used to just whistle all day. It was all classical music. And it came to a point that I had a hard time sleeping only because I didn't listen to classical music. And once you play classical music, I go to sleep, which is crazy because a guy from Africa, from where I was born, not everybody, a lot of my friends in Congo had that outlet to be able to listen to that kind of music, especially in their home. So I thank my dad a lot on that because he definitely helped me a lot as a musician, as a musical director, without even knowing, at all. I didn't realize this until I got older. Realized the things I was introduced to when I was young in Congo helped a lot to describe who I am, to mold me who I am. For example, I never took any drum lessons in my life. I never took the only lesson I ever took in my life was trumpet. I went to school for that, studied it, teach, musical theory for a little bit. Every instrument I played, I taught myself. I was the first initial. I decided that I wanted to learn it, and I didn't really have anybody around to teach me that. So I decided to go on and really teach myself that. I believe if you really want it, you really want to figure it out, you can make it happen. Now, back in those days, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have social media, we didn't have a lot of these things. So everything I did was based on memory, based on repetition, and going, seeing that person doing it all over again, and based on really motivation. Like I really motivated myself to really want it. I was determined to figure it out. I was determined to understand how that guy played that bass line. I never forget as a young man, at one point I used to be like, if I listen to something over and over and over, I'll memorize it to the point when I go home, I can sit down and hear each note or each hit. I don't know if that was happening for all my friends or everybody else, but I literally could hear everything that I memorized note by note to the point. I remember first time I heard Take Five, for example, the song Take Five. First time I heard it, I was like, wow. Listen to it over and over and over to the point it became part of me. And I decided I'm gonna teach myself how to play this song on guitar, which I never ever did. I literally sat there for 2 hours, going note by note, singing what I memorized. by the ending of 2 hours, I could play the whole song. And to me, it was cool because I figured it out, but I didn't know what I just did compared to a lot of my friends that went to school for this. And if it's on play Take Five right now, they have the hardest time playing it. They have to like, oh, you're gonna give me. I need some days to figure it out. It's jazz is not my thing. But to me, I never looked at it as jazz or as hip hop or reggae. I looked at it as music. So it definitely helped a lot on that. I also would like to know what would you recommend to get a nice round, punchy bass. Um, when it comes down to bass, it depends on what kind of bass you're using. And to be honest, a lot of the OGs, a lot of my friends say this before. It really doesn't matter what kind of bass you use. It matters on how you play it. Because I realize, for example, me as a drummer, I played on a lot of many different drum sets. I played people's drum sets at party that was like really trash, but I realized that like, all right, so these toms are kind of like sensitive, so I gotta hit this hard or this soft, for it to be heard without breaking it, or I don't need to play that loud. To the point the owner comes up to me and tells me, "Man, I never heard my drum sound like that." And it came to the point to me realizing it be happening so much time that it's yes, it does matter, but the main and key player to that whole thing is the player himself, not the instrument. Because I believe, like human beings back in the day, they didn't have what we have now to create certain sounds. They work with what they had and they made it sound great. Some of them, people are still trying to study how they made certain instruments sound back in those days. And to me, it's like it's definitely not technology. It's definitely the player itself. So when it comes down to playing a punchy bass, it's I feel like the more repetition you have, the more how you figure out your technique. Because everybody's techniques are different. Yes, there's a whole book that will teach you how to play the bass, how to pluck everything, how to do that and everything. But as we know, some of the greatest bass players don't have the best technique ever, but they sound amazing. So definitely, I wouldn't rely on the instrument itself, on the bass. I rely on more how you feel in your ears. Feeling in ears is what I usually go with a lot, more than technique sometimes. That's for me. I can't speak for everybody else. Some other people gotta go the other way around. Okay. So, right, so you and Zion messing around with a version of Take Five. Tell us something on your social media. Yes, me and Zion Thompson. So, Take Five. I brought that up because I've been working on a song Take Five. Um, a while ago when I was working with the Green, I used to make all the intros. So I created an intro. They asked me to create an intro that's not reggae, that's coming from a different place, and I was gonna go full on not reggae, but I chose to fusion a song that a lot of people in the reggae world don't really know, which is a song entitled called Take Five, and a lot of people haven't really in my in my circle of friends that listen to reggae and hip hop have no idea what song is Take Five. But people from jazz background to all kinds of other shit know exactly what song is that. So what I wanted to do is kind of like combine the two words together. So I made this whole intro based on the song Take Five. Because Take Five is actually in 5/4. But I end up flipping it on 4/4 and flip it on a reggae beat, and we used it as an intro for the Green for probably like almost a whole year. Ding, 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 ding. And it worked. People came to the show, was tripping out. They was like, "Wow, this is a sick intro," and it was guitar driven. So JP and Zion will go back and forth with it. Yeah, and literally when after that tour was done, we really haven't used it at all. And me and Zion be talking about it for a long time. It's like, dude, that was one of the sickest intro we had, because I had people walk up to me and they was like, yo, I never ever heard a reggae version of Take Five. I ever came to a reggae concert and heard anybody play Take Five. And I heard people come to me and Zion and be like, yo, I came to this show, not even a reggae fan. I heard you guys play Take Five. And because of that, that tripped me out. Now I'm a fan. So we talked about it for years, decided to like record it, but never came around. And literally, I was at his house 2 days ago, and it's been 10 years since we did that intro. And we finally got together and decided to record it and finish it and actually release it as a single. It's crazy because it literally just past Sunday I was at my house getting ready to meet up with Caleb, the lead singer of the Green. Gonna go over his house and record and hang out and talk about some things we're working on. And right before I leave that house, I get an email from Zion Thompson. Open it up. It says take five. I was like, no way. And if you know me, if you send me something interesting and my day's kind of like whatever, I will cancel everything else and finish that. And so exactly that's what happened. I end up not leaving my house, opening up my laptop and working on that version of Take Five. So, and that's one of the main reasons why I use it as an example that came out of my head. Basic and EQ and compression wise. EQing and compression on bass in it depends. Live and recording is two different things, you know? And the bass you're using, one thing I realized a lot, it's not just the player. When it comes down to like recording, EQing is everything, and compressing is definitely everything. EQing is number one to me for real because bass carries a lot of lows, obviously because it's a bass. But on the high end and the mid end, people sleep on that, and that's always you tend to lose a bass and some other plug and frequency. You hear a lot of woo, 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 but you don't hear a poop 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 poop. You're missing a lot of the hits that happens, and mostly, I'll tell people a lot if you're recording. I would like to cut off a little bit of the lows, just a little bit, not too much, because the bass carries a lot of lows. Now, depending on the sound that you're looking for, start playing with the high mids for me. Depending on what kind of music you're recording or playing, funk, reggae, gospel, it all comes with different EQs. The best thing I can offer you to do or suggest to do is play with it, because I could tell you exactly what EQ that I use for certain sounds, but I use that based on my ears and what I want to hear, because I realize on different songs my bass EQ would change. You know, it could be reggae. All five songs are reggae, but my EQ would change on the bass for certain songs, even though it's all reggae. So I say play with it. Most people are afraid to play with EQ because they feel like they don't know what they're doing. I didn't either, but it's simple as knowing what's high, mid, and low, and literally start as basic as that and start playing with it. And by the time you know it, within now 1 hour, you know exactly how you want your EQ. I remember there's EQ in bass and bass and kick drums had a hard time because they clash a lot, and you want to be able to hear both of them. You know, compressor helps a lot, and EQ definitely. So it took me probably like 2 months, because in the beginning I'll EQ things and I'll listen to it later and I'll be like, oh, that was just terrible. What was I doing? But the more and more you keep playing with it, the more and more things come clear, because some things that I've learned by asking questions and figuring that out and put it in did work. It was clean, but it was not what I was looking for. So I came to the point people's opinion on EQ was not bad, but it was not what I was looking for. So as for me, I say just play with it, you know. Play with it. Play with a lot of the mids, low high mids, and the real low. Shave off a little bit of the lows and see how you feel about that. Because on the mix, you want it to pop. You know, mostly naturally people they were like, I want to feel that bass. Yeah, I want to feel that bass and the mix. I don't want it to just disappear all the way through. What are the most common instruments in lover style reggae? Oh, uh it's the same as regular reggae, you know. But I feel like when it comes down to lovers, it really depends on the subject and the chord progression you're using. You know, most of the lovers you hear will be on major sevens. You know, there's a lot of sevens in it. You know, you hear some lovers that's in minor, which is rare, but it does happen. But most lovers all comes from major sevens, which is where my heart lives right there. Even nines, you add a little bit of nine right there, it helps a lot, you know. So most lovers that I grew up with, all old school lovers, all was basic two chords lovers. It was nothing really, really, really crazy. But the seven and small things really helped and adds a lot. Okay. What are the tools and knowledge do you think the most important for you to being successful at different level in the musical industry? Okay. Okay. To be successful as a producer, musical director, and an artist or musician is to be able to listen. Most people have their opinion how they feel like things are, and for me, it took me a while because I really had to listen because it came to a point when people come up to me, and for example, the new single I just dropped, JBoog just dropped, um, Siva Mai. It's a Afrobeat beat that I made with Boogs. So that's a good. I'm gonna use that as an example. So Siva my Boogs came in. So for the longest time, as long as I've been working with Boogs, every time we work in the studio, he has the hardest time trying to express what he wants and how he wants things to sound because he doesn't know the musical term to use how to explain things. So as a producer that's been working with a lot of guys that know exactly how to explain things, it could get frustrating sometimes, trying to listen to somebody that's trying to tell you something, but they don't know how to tell you. So it became for years, me and Bugs would work and we could never finish a beat because I get frustrated. He get frustrated because he's trying to explain to me what he's trying to say. And I'm trying to listen to him, but I feel like he's not doing it the right way. And literally, this last single, it was like one of those periods of time. I was like, Bugs, come to the studio. I want to really practice like listening to you. You tell me exactly what you want to hear, and I'll listen to you and figure out how to create it and make it come to life. And literally, it was very interesting at the end of finishing two tracks, realizing that the way he was building and creating things in his head was not the way I was building and creating things in my head. It was different patterns. Although I knew this, but getting to listen to him explain to things and be able to open and listen to him and trying it, even though sometimes I feel like he's doing it in the wrong order, was the best thing that ever happened. Because at the end, when I finally hear the whole thing, I was like, oh, so this is what he was trying to tell me. He goes, yeah, you get it now? I'm like, that's crazy because if I didn't listen to him, wouldn't have the single that he has. If I didn't come open minded and understanding that the way I view things and see things might be different compared to other people that understand things. And that really changed me a lot. As a producer, as a musical director, I had to listen. I like to take people's ideas and make it part of the set. Even though I might feel like it's not an idea that's really as strong, I want to figure out a way to make it fit because I feel like every idea has a place. There's a reason why you thought about it. There's a reason why you brought it up. You feel like it's fitting somewhere. Now I might not understand how you seen it, but I need to accept that you seeing a vision, and I need to respect that, figure out how to make it fit. You know, and yeah, and literally as a drummer, I realized some of the fills that I've done after listening to recording was like some of them was not necessary. Maybe I should have listened to that guy's fill or his suggestion. So it came down to pretty much listening because we, as musical director, drummer and producer, we come to a point that we study a lot on our own. We learn so much on our own. We took hours of learning things, and asking questions, and having all this knowledge. And sometimes I'm guilty of this too, feeling like I got this. You know, that I got it. And yes, maybe you do got it, but that's your perspective and how you got it. Other people, the way they're learning, obtaining this information is different, and how they're pulling it out is different from you. So definitely from listening and applying really helped me a lot, and not really put anybody down and be very open about listening to other people's idea because a lot of musicians or musical directors or producers have hard time taking people's idea. They be like, you tell my idea, they be like, oh yeah, 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 that's nice. Would they apply? Probably not. And I've seen that happen so many times, and I've seen the artist or the client really kind of like go on the shell and be like, I don't even want to do this anymore. I don't even want to listen to them. And that's when it becomes really, really sad. So, and I feel like it limits the whole process of creating or building things, because you never know how far it would have went. Only if you was open minded, you get all this. And I learned a lot. I learned this the hard way because there's songs that's out there, and then people come in and told me ideas, and then I thought about it later. I'm like, man, I should have listened to them, and I did it. That's one thing I encourage all musical director, all producers out there. Please have a listening ear. So in my band, I do this 1 week probation time. So the first day, before the first day, sending out music. Here's a set list. Learn this, learn this, learn that, learn that, and literally, I go to practice. I like, all right, guys, you guys know what I send. Let's just run through it for 1 week straight. We'll run through everything that I sent them, and that 1 week, I'm not correcting anybody to the fullest. I'm listening to what they obtain and how they're pulling it out there on the set. And after 1 week, before even going to the second week of practice, then I usually like, all right, guys, now that you guys show me what you guys retain from everything that I sent, I want to start correcting some things. This, that, and that. That, let's keep that. I didn't expect you to do that. Let's keep that. That's giving other people a chance to express what they have. Although I gave them the part to play, but most people, once they start learning the part, have a tendency of putting their own feel into it. And I have to be open to that. I can't stop anybody from expressing themselves. But I gotta give the time to listen to hear what they have before I can even counterattack with that. Okay, what you say defines reggae, Hawaiian reggae from the best? Oh wow! So um, I don't think there's such a thing as Hawaiian reggae. This is a heavy debate because I had this debate before. Because I feel like we all play reggae, but and Hawaii people do it a certain way that's different because most Hawaiians here or Hawaii people have grew up listening to a lot of old school reggae. Literally a lot of old school. Shout out to my boy Ambrose. I see you. A lot of Hawaii people grew up listening to a lot of old school reggae. Like you realize until you come here, you wouldn't even know this. Like a lot of old school reggae is really, really, really popular here. So therefore, it becomes from a mixture of a lot of love songs with a lot of harmonies. That's to me, it became like what Hawaii was known for. For example, the green. The green, if you look at the green, is always fighting for love, it's always fighting for something, which is mostly our reggae song. But the green will come out with four guys, four different voices singing four different parts. It wasn't like only Caleb. It's like, that and that and that. And if you look at a lot of the other reggae bands too from Hawaii, they all have more than just one singer, and they're known for singing parts. So to me, Hawaiian reggae is not necessarily means because you put in a ukulele or guitar and then that makes it Hawaiian reggae. I feel like it just becomes on the swag and the way they do things and the way they play things. Like I wouldn't consider Hawaiian reggae. I would just say reggae, but just in Hawaiian style. But there's no way I could call that Hawaiian reggae because to me reggae is reggae. It just depends how you let it out. How was it working with Pana? Oh, working with Pana, so it's amazing. Pana's like, if you don't know who Pana is, please go check him out. I always post about him. We're always working together. Working Pana is a blessing for me because for the longest time I've been working by myself. I have friends, like JP Kennedy. I can go Jarrell, J Keys, even from Ambrose, guys I bounce off music with. But Pana was like the new blood that came in my life that was teaching me a lot of the new stuff that was coming out that I didn't know. Pana came from making beats in the front of my studio. I was working almost like receptionist in the front, like saying hi to everybody with his laptop open, to getting his own room, to getting his own stuff, to me setting him to work with To The Roots, start doing more stuff, start coming back home, doing EPs. So Pana is just like me, originally a drummer, but plays a lot of different instruments, which helps a lot. And we spend a lot of time talking about evolving, what we can do to get better. That's one thing with Pana that I really like a lot. We're always trying to figure out things to nothing wrong with working with my other friends, but I feel like with a lot of my other friends, we always was just trying to finish things and get things to do. But with Pana, it's always trying to how do we get better? How do we get to the point that we how do we learn that? How do we achieve this? How do we get this and put this together? And I feel like that really helped me a lot because at one point all I was doing was just finishing up projects. I would just, you know, working to finish things, getting work to pay for things, mostly, and almost losing that that part that you have fun by learning. So Pana definitely helped me a lot on getting that feel back. So yeah, shout out to Pana. If you haven't checked out a lot of his stuff, he has a new EP just dropped. He's working on new music. He's featuring on my last single I just did. Amazing, amazing kid. And he's still very growing a lot till today. Every week I know he's learning something interesting, and we always share a lot of things that we do together and learning from each other, you know. Uh to the Roots. Shout out to the Roots in the house right there. Yeah. So definitely listening as a producer, as a musical director, and applying is a big thing that a lot of people do, because people act like to listen, but most of them don't really. They just stick that in and comes out the other way. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Loving Tonight was definitely special, and that's why I had to have Pana in there. And Loving Tonight, actually, that last single I did was ridiculous, because going with Pana, going straight to that single, was when I was writing that single, was really, it was just for fun. It was just like to practice how to be on the other side of the mic instead of the laptop, because I was the one usually giving artists and singers instruction how to do this. Now it's switched for me being from there to the other side, kind of like to tell them, like, I know how it is. You can't tell me that I don't know how it is to be behind a mic and sing a certain way and you know have a voice. So I had to kind of like practice what I preach. So literally, when I finished writing that song, I didn't like my second verse. I decided I was gonna get some help, and then I was like, "Oh, maybe I should have a feature." And literally, Pana was one of the guys that was there, and I asked him. I said, "Pana, are you down?" Because most people don't know that he actually can sing. So I asked him, "Pana, do you want to be part of this song?" He was like, "If this is the first time people are gonna actually really, really hear you sing, I want to be part of it too." So and that song, the background singer was Langa Savia, which is an amazing producer, an amazing drummer from Hawaii too. So it became really special, because literally it was three producers and three drummers on one track together, and literally it was a dream come true for me. And yeah, Loving Tonight was a very special song to have Pana in there. And the French version was just another thing that happens is when you listen, like I was saying, I would listen to my band member. I keep sending them the music I was working with. My boy Chris Rizzi hit me up. He goes, "Bro, you should do a French verse." I was like, "Whatever, man. I know, you guys don't speak French or whatever, but I just want to just let the song out, just to do it. I don't want to like do too much." And then I was like, "Wow, I gotta listen to my boy. Like my whole thing is about listening." So I literally didn't tell him. I just went to the studio. I started recording the French version, and I had to call my brother just to make sure I got some pronunciation right on certain words I was saying, and got the okay on that from Europe, and recorded and sent it to my band member, and everybody was tripping out. And I got the best reaction on that a lot, and all because I did listen to somebody. I listened to one of the boys. Or I couldn't be like, no, I'm just gonna do it in English, and that's it. Just get out on the song, yeah. The guitar. Yeah, so on the guitar on that song I use my boy Darvin. Darvin is from the island of Guam. He's been playing with a bunch of artists here. I met him through Jarrell at one of the jam session we had, and he's a jazz guitar player, but he plays all kinds of stuff. So it had to be him to be on that, because I needed that old school jazzy lovers feel. And I didn't want to have a piano lead. I wanted to be four instruments and make it sound groovy. So if you realize on that song, there isn't much. There is a guitar, keyboard, bass, drum. That's it. I didn't add anything. So it's easy to play live. They say, I always say less is more. It comes from listening to, like, I use one of Bob's songs as an example. Crazy Ballhead. That song doesn't really have any crazy notes. It's two chords. Nobody's doing any jazz fills or anything, but it makes you feel some type of way when you hear that song. No matter where I was, if I heard Crazy Ballhead or even just a band playing it, my body feels different. my whole aura would change. And that's the feeling I chased for a long time. That's the feeling that made me fall in love with reggae. How they could make something so simple feel so amazing, compared to I hear guys playing a crazy scale. And that sounds cool, but it would not make me feel as fulfilled as listening to Crazy Ballhead. And that really kind of bothered me a lot. And I really chased that feeling to the point I realized you can't teach it. You can't really explain it fully. You have to feel it. That's why they say reggae is all about feel. So definitely Love is Rock is it's really all about feelings. And that's why in that song when I created the whole track with Loving Tonight, I really didn't want to have too much happening. I wanted to have just enough, but to make it feel great. So it's all comes by choices of notes. And if a jazz scale, if you play it fast, it sounds cool, but if you slow it down, it's heavenly. So even on the some of the notes I use on the vocal, on the lead vocal, the note I chose was very jazzy. Although I'm using some very basic chords on the rhythm guitar, rhythm piano, but the notes that I choose on the lead, even on the guitar, was really really jazzy. If I played it fast, it'll sound cool too, but if you break it down, you slow it down, amazing. Um, yeah. Any other question do I have here? What's your favorite song your mama sang to you? Oh man, it's crazy because there's a lot, and a lot of them is all in my African native language. And it's hard because you're gonna make me want to sing this shit, and I ain't gonna sing this shit. But it's all lullaby songs that my mom used to sing to me and my brothers and my sister when I was young. My mom used to sing all the time, and I realized it became part of a thing. If you're working, we're singing. You're cleaning, we're singing. There's always music or somebody singing every time around the house. So it's not just one song. It's just a bunch of melodies and a bunch of lyrics in my head that I remember clearly. I can't really say one song. So to answer to your questions a lot. Um, why hi-hat technique would recommend truly make sure you keep a reggae song? Oh, so I'm about to give you this. This is from the vault right here. So playing reggae, a lot of people have no idea how much accenting a certain part on the hi-hat makes a huge difference. But one thing I learned recently in the last years was accenting on the upbeat. So if you're playing a shuffle beat, you accent on the up, which lands on the guitar skank and the piano skank. That is one thing that changed a lot. It helps keep a certain groove and awareness of time of where we are, even though when you're grooving, you're heavy in it. Because think about it, everything on reggae is on the up. Ch- ch- Why not accent there? So that is one thing that really changed me a lot in the last 3 years. Before that, I only accent on the up in certain songs. But now I have a tendency, even though whatever different pattern I'm using on reggae, I do my best to accent on the upbeat because it keeps the guitar skank and the piano skank together. And that togetherness, when it hits together, it really makes a huge difference when you're playing reggae. Chunk, chunk, you won't need that much because you guys at one point in the middle of the cut while everything's happening, you guys are hitting together. Any other question? How do you feel about with everything that's happening right now, like all that? I really try, although I really get into it, but I really not try to get into that right now. I'm mostly focused on the music and everything else. Sample the melody. Okay, one song my mom used to sing when I was young. Since you're gonna make me do this, I'm gonna do this. So it used to be "Mwana mpuku kotele Kotele nali dusu sokibo kangie bolongo lae bapwa lenaye. It was a lot of stuff like that. It was a lot of melodies that use a whole scale. Literally, my whole life was fulfilled of just listening to scales like up and down, and without knowing that those melodies and a lot of them got stuck in me, And a lot of those scales came from a lot of the old school church or songs from the village, which all came to from a lot of the roots reggae music that I heard that I became really attached to. It all became those songs that I recognized and became close to. Mixing and volume tips. Um, when you're mixing, I don't really mix so much, but when I do rough mixes and everything, try to keep your volume at a low volume as much as possible. Because when you're mixing loud, everything is loud. When you mix low, you want to be able to hear certain things pop up and not low mix. And another thing I do is reset your ears. A lot of people don't do this a lot when they go mixing. If you're mixing, you listen to the song for hours and hours. You need to come to a point where your ears are used to the sound. So you gotta give your ears a break. So what I usually do, I'll take a break and I'll switch music. I'll listen to something like an Hawaiian music song which has no drum, just guitar, upright bass, and nice melody and chords, and I will listen to it for 15 to 20 minutes at a low volume, and which is gonna force my ears to kind of adjust to that volume, that kind of style music. And then once I'm done, I turn it off. I go right back, and it usually helps a lot. So that's a good tip on mixing and the volume that you use when you're mixing. Um, so I'm coming project. So I have I'm working on a live animal EP, which is live animal. If you guys don't know, it's my production company. I've been working with a lot of bunch of artists over the years, and just decided I gotta put a compilation album. Over 50 artists I've worked with in the last years. Some more than half of them I'm still working with them all the time. So decided to put a whole project together. Um, should be releasing some singles real soon. I can't give you dates right now. So that's one to be on the lookout for. Live Animal EP featuring from artists as Fiji, JBoog, Ellie Mac, Leko Jordy, Fia. I can go down the list. It's gonna be very special. And another project I'm working on is a reggae remix album. So I decided to put an album on songs that I grew up listening to as a young kid that I love from old school, from the '90s, even some recent songs. Any songs that I like that's been stuck in me or that means something to me, I'm remixing those songs in reggae. So I got some Shania Twain in there, some Beyonce. It's kind of a compilation of a lot, but it end up being mostly all girls singing. So it's gonna be a compilation of my favorite songs growing up from female artists flip to reggae. So that is on the works actually. So should be dropping a single very soon. I can't give you a date on that. And I'm working on my own personal EP, which is gonna be not a reggae EP, it's gonna be a funk EP. It's a fusion funk and kind of neo soul kind of vibe. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, I am working on a lot. I'm working on a reggae instrumental album, which is gonna be just all instrumental reggae, good vibe, with a bunch of guest musicians and artists just to come and sing and vibe to. So definitely, there's a lot of works, a lot of music coming. And besides that, finishing up the Greens album, JBoog's album is done. Lico Jordy's been working on his album, working on this other artist Anna V's album. Big Mox's album. I have literally about 7 to 10 albums with different artists that I'm working with. So there's a lot of music on the way. I don't have a date that I can give you right now on that. So just be on the lookout. Follow me on IG. Follow me on Facebook. You sure gonna hear from me very soon. There's a lot happening. The one I'm really excited about is all of them because I've been working so much good music that the excitement now is about to show it to everybody. I'm not creating anymore because we're at a point where we're almost done with it. I just want to share it. I want everybody able to hear what I've been doing, because a lot of people, I'm like, oh, I hear this a lot. Oh, you share too much on IG, Les. You're showing too much. I'm like, what I show on IG is not even 15. It's not even 15% of what's really happening. So be grateful when I share something with you guys on IG, on social media. So a lot of music coming. I'm mostly excited for a lot of the stuff that's coming as compilation album, my reggae remix, and my live animal EP, because you're not gonna hear a lot of this all this artists on the same project together. It's really rare, and I'm grateful and honored to be able to work with all of them and all of them be part of it. Um, how did I start? Why did you decided to start your production company? I decided to start a production company because I started working with so many artists, and it came to the point like it was just leading to that, And a lot of these artists was working with a lot of producers was not taking care of them, was just taking their money from them. So what I did, uh, I decided to it all came down from working with one or two artists, and they just keep coming back to you, or they go work with other producers, something bad happens, they keep coming back to me. So I was like, all right, how about this one? I just signed into my production company. We do like, 1 or 2 year deal and work on it together. And when that deal is done, whatever project we're doing, you can either choose to leave or come back. But so far, everybody came back. So it was a definitely good move, because now my production company is just not just me. I have different producers that I'm bringing into. I'm opening up doors for new producers and some older ones, finding a place where they can have an artist and work with nonstop every week, have a full schedule with it. So definitely, and I wasn't trying to, it led to that. And JP Kennedy had a lot to do with that, help and definitely put everything all in one, because at one point I was just all over the place. Schedule was messed up. I was just double booking, and I had to kind of prioritize everything properly. How do I get the snare to really pop to the mix? Tuning is a key, but when it comes down to the mic, you gotta work with the EQ and positioning of the mic. That helped definitely a lot. It depends if you're talking about open snare or rim shot, or a pop on the side. It all depends on what you're looking for. And to be honest, most of the time, one mic won't do the job. Yes, it would, but it wouldn't get the full effect of each hits that you're hitting on the drum. So I played on drum sets on the mic. There was about four mics on just the snare alone. One from the rim shot, one from the pop, top and bottom, and one on the side. So it all depends on what you're looking for. Any other questions we have here? Let's see. Let's see. And by the way, just letting you guys know, I'm gonna be offering classes on different things, drumming, music production, songwriting, directing, and all that with Backstage music lessons. So please find me and sign up on classes. Like, I feel like an hour is not enough for me to really cover a lot of these things, but I want to kind of give you an overall, a little bit glimpse of everything. We can get into details, to numbers, and everything. And literally, yeah, sign up. I got you guys. Any questions or anything else you guys have, I definitely will help with that. I have the answer. I've learned a lot over the years. And one thing I love about this, I didn't have this outlet, and I pretty much taught myself a lot of things. And I always told myself, when I'm become to a point to be able to pass the knowledge, as much as a lot of people didn't pass me certain knowledge, I had to learn myself by myself and then acquire from it in different ways. Now that I can do that, I will share it. So hit me up. Anything you have questions about, you want to take some lessons, some classes, sign up, please. I got you guys, and it'd be definitely worth it to have the one-on-one or whatever you need. And I'm pretty open and easy to work with, so yeah, hit me up. Speaking of snare and drums, do you have your favorite? I don't have my favorite for recording, because depending on the song, what snare I want to use, what sound I want to go for. So it all comes down on what's called for what song. So at the moment I have like three snares, four snares in my studio, and they all have different sounds. So if I'm looking for a deep snare, but I don't really have one favorite snare that I usually go to when I record. Live is different. If I had it my way live, I would have three different snares. But that's just you play the ukulele like what's your favorite string? My favorite string. It's a weird question. I don't know how to answer that. My favorite string on the ukulele. Um, yeah, definitely, of course, man. All the way from Texas. Yes, good. Keep making. The only thing I can say: be open minded. Listen to people's opinion, bad or good. Take the good, even the bad too. Make it your own. Learn from it. The best advice I can give is to be able to listen. Most people don't. It's weird for me to say this because like, it makes me sound really old. But I used to remember the uncles be like, you need to listen." I'm like, "Nah, I'm listening to you. But what are you talking about?" Now I know exactly what it is. Be open minded and be listen. It helps a lot to grow as an artist, as a musician, as a producer. It'll definitely help a lot in my life because it's not that I didn't listen before, but I didn't really fully listen and apply like I am now. And because of that, it helped me change a lot. It helped me discover a lot of things. A lot of things that I've been using lately in my life, I discovered by listening. So definitely. Of course. Hey, thank you. Big shout out to Kevin, man. We gotta give a shout out to Kevin. I appreciate you, bro. I remember you on hanging out on tour, talking story about drumming, sharing, like seeing everybody um um on your website and everything makes me happy, and I'm glad that I'm part of the system now. Like definitely, please sign up. Um, any more questions? Just hit me up. I'm more than willing to be able to provide you guys with a lot of things, And I got a lot of music coming on the way, a lot of producing, like as of shows, I don't know when the live show is gonna be coming. So I'm excited to go back out there, start playing music again. But until then, we still can make music at home. We still can make music wherever we are, and we still can listen to music at home. So don't stop. Be open minded and just listen. Simple as that. Shout out to my manager. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. So I really appreciate everybody. Woodfire, thank you. I hope to do this more often. I love this live stream. Next time, give me 2 hours. No, an hour is good. An hour is good. So definitely thank you guys for everything. Thank you for listening. For all of you guys that are still there, thank you for the comments and everything that you did. Very good questions. So thank you. Aloha, and y'all have a great day.